Hello. Something's not right here, isn't it? Let's see what's happened. Why do I appear to have like a little repeat? That is interesting. I don't think it's going to matter, is it? Because we're not going to see that. Let's just bear with me 1 second. Go to this weird sideways one for a moment. And now you can see what I'm doing on my little side screen as well. Properties. Let's just turn it off and turn it back on again. Okay. Does that look right? I think that looks right. How weird. How weird. Turning it off and turning it on again seems to have worked. Okay, sorry about that. The camera was just cutting off, I don't know, doing a bit of a weird loop and showing my bookshelf on the wrong side or something. Anyway, welcome back everyone who is come back. And yeah, hi Vincent, who I've already been chatting to in the chat before the stream even started. Yeah, I think getting stuff finished is hard work, which is why we're here doing this stream, right? Getting me to finish my job application tracker thing. Yeah, so last time I was struggling a little bit with interviews and stuff. Sorry, yeah, interviews. So I did eventually work out how to get them working. Can I bring this back online? Let's get this up and running. So now interviews work. I had to delete a lot of data. I'm still not sure about certain things like storing. Where has it gone? How to store things like dates. I've switched over to using. I've made a few changes since we last streamed. I've switched over to using Chrono for dates. Chrono is extremely powerful, but I also feel like it's not very user-friendly. So it's been a bit of a pain. I'll go into some examples in a bit, but anyway. So basically, last time we were working on interviews, which are over here. I've got written down values as well, and also questions. So this all sort of works now. So if I can come in here, test again. This stuff all saves. What's quite cool though is that I've slightly changed the way that this stuff works. So what I was finding is that I'm having to create a lot of, if I go back to the code, we'll talk about specifically how it works. So in the UI, in the views, interview details, so we have these like editable sections, and then in the editable bit we have sort of what to display if it's not currently editable, what to display if it is currently editable, and then a form receiver to deal with the data that's coming back. Hello, OK Alarm. And the actually, I'm just going to zoom in. Sorry, let me just zoom in the chat a little bit because I'm having difficulty reading it from this far away. There we go. Oh my goodness, I'm not showing this code either. This is me being out of practice. I think I was away for like 1 week. So going backwards, we have these editable components. We have what to display if it's not currently editable, what to display if it is currently editable, and then a form receiver that receives data back from the editable form. And we have these all over the place, and I was ending up having to sort of like write specific code to handle each of them every single time. Now the form receiver for, I haven't changed any of the others, so if I jump over to like questions, I think, probably inside of this. No, there we go. Questions. So questions only has 2 fields, and you can already tell that this is more complicated for dealing with form events and how to like handle changes and stuff like that. So what I realized was that each time I'm basically guessing this form, you failed. Sorry, I should read that out. For not being able to implement infinite scrolling in Dioxus. That's interesting. I don't know how to do that either. That's one that's really interesting to think about. I'm actually now fascinated that you interviewed somewhere that is currently using Dioxus. I recently failed a Rust interview myself. And in the interview, they were using a framework called Iced that I'd never heard of before. and I just could not get it to work with my normal way of working. And then I basically failed on the fact that I sort of jury-rigged it to complete the thing, but it was like really, I don't think it was well-written code, and I even like made a list of notes and stuff saying like, ideally this is how you would write it, don't understand why it's not working, never used this framework before, but it wasn't good enough. Yeah, it can be really harsh, I think. My sort of, I mean, especially for Dioxus, like, sorry. Dioxus changes a lot very regularly, which has been, I think there's an issue that I've talked about on this stream before. So, you know what, anyone who is new to this stream, we are building a job tracker. We're using Rust and a framework called Dioxus, which is what we're currently talking about. But Dioxus is, I love it, but it's not something I would ever recommend being used professionally because right now it's unstable, and they keep making changes to how it works, which is it's bad for like if you want something stable and to just work, but it's great in the way that they have been adding more and more things, so that's really, really cool. So they don't mention what they use before the interview. That's kind of tough for us. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I also think that hey, Dimitri, I agree with that as well. The Dioxus is quite tough. It's weird because it changes so often. Like, I still need to update my CV to use the latest version of Dioxus, I think. Oh no, I need to move my CV to using 0.7. I think we're using 0.6 for Job Tracker, which is the current stable pre-release version. I think 0.7 might have fixed a problem I have specifically with my CV. So I use Dioxus all of the time, and even I have no idea. Like that's for me, that's a really weird interview question, even as a full stack web developer, like for the last 15 years. That's an odd one. Dimitri, I've been having a rough time with coding interviews lately, and weirdly this one with Iced was actually one of the better ones because it felt like it was at least a real coding interview, not just a makey-uppy, here's a leak code thing, which I'm still quite tempted to do a video on why leak code is bad for everyone, including businesses. Yeah, it's it's weird. SQLX and Axum. Oh, I don't think I've used Axum. I've used SQLX, which is really nice. Dioxus is, like I say, it is really nice, but how would you do it? I guess you could put a... you'd probably need to communicate between... So funnily enough, we're going to come on to this in a bit. You would probably need to communicate between JavaScript and Dioxus by having some sort of element at the end that when the element goes onto the page, you then load up the next section. That's kind of like what I would think of. Hi, I am Staple. Finally, a service not made in JavaScript. Well, it's funny you should say that. We'll come on to all of this in a minute. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, Alarm. It's that is a tough one. I'm really sorry that's would have been a stressful situation. It's also not really how I personally interview people when I've been in that position of being able to create the interviews for people. I am much more interested in how people work together. Going back to Dimitri's point right there, I would set a coding challenge, but it would probably be something trivial, and you'd be pairing with engineers who already know how to do the thing. And what I'm looking to see is like, can you communicate with those engineers to work out how to do it? Like, obviously they know how to do it. And I will usually put someone who is more junior into the interview as well to find out how you communicate with juniors, because I think that's quite crucial. But yeah, for me personally, as a software engineer and as someone who was a manager for a bit as well, it's more important for me on how you work with other people. Whereas like actual sort of like coding things, we can sort of teach you as you go along. So I do think it's a bit weird, but it's 2025 and interviews are they're not what they were before the pandemic. I saw a great YouTube skit where someone had like a 2018 job interviews versus 2025 job interviews in tech, and it was like literally just people bending over backwards to try and get you into it, and then to join their job, and just like agreeing to utterly ridiculous demands to get you to join them. And today it's just like asking you to do utterly ridiculous things in order to prove your worth. And a lot of the time it's just not, not useful. But hey, I'm still here, still looking for work as well. So I'm probably not the best person to ask about it. Anyway, interview details. Let's jump it back in again. So form data is this thing that we get from Dioxus forms that contains the information about what was in the form. And I realized that obviously for every form that I'm creating, I'm basically creating a list of keys and values that apply to the object that we want to apply to. So what I realized was most of the time, say take for example the interview object, which is where I've done the most work on here. So we've got storable object interview. Sorry, 1 second. Now in the interview, when you submit the form, if you are editing the form, then we care about all of these things, but you're not going to be changing ID or role ID. You're probably already starting to see that there are some attributes attached here. And you may or may not include some of these things in it. So date deleted, for example, we actually probably won't be dealing with. Can't remember why I've left this here. I think this is probably just a bit beyond where I've actually thought ahead to. And so we'll have in our... Why are you doing that? Oh no, I've got the wrong mouse. Okay, let's just do keyboard instead. See if I can remember how to do that. In the interview stuff here, so we've got like... we've got the when, we've got the name as date time, who is hosts, interviewer's name. If we go back over here, you can see name, hosts, notes, and date time. And so we have these fields coming back from this form. So what I did was I used a crate called partially that effectively creates I think it's called partial interview struct right here, right next to it. And that struct contains all of the values again, except for the ones that I've told it to omit, and wraps them all in options. So these will be doubly wrapped in options. And that means that I can then decide like which of those things I'm using. And then from that, where are we? Partially, if I go to... So I decided that I wouldn't expose partially outwards. So I've got my own apply partially trait, which requires the object is being applied to have a partial of item P. So you basically take an interview, for example, as self, you pass in a partial interview and it will apply using partials apply sum on top of the other one. So if a value is set within the partial, then it will apply onto the original value, allowing it to mutate itself. And then I just applied it to everything. Essentially, if it has a partial, it now has apply partially, which is the trait that's exposed by this crate inside of the workspace, and therefore I don't have to expose partially. So that gets me to that point. So now I have a way of getting like a partial interview to be applied to an interview for editing purposes. So then the next step was basically I just needed to go from form data into a partial interview, which I think we've got here. So effectively, in this case, what I've got is modifier with form data. This type is applied to, again, basically everything that has apply partial already on it. So you would input the interview at this point, and then the form data that is for the interview. It then turns it into a hash map of keys and values. Filters out things that are empty. I think what have we got? Map. Yeah, sorry. Filters out things that are empty. Turns it into a form value and then into a string. Deserializes what? Yeah, this gets a bit wild. So I had to import JSON in order to treat values as if they're JSON values, so that I can have a hash map of keys and JSON values in order to deserialize it into an object that is deserializable. So interview is deserializable. We store everything serialized in the database. So having a hash map of keys of strings and values of JSON values allows me to deserialize it into that object, and then I can apply it on top. So this all feels like a lot, but what it means is if we, oh no, if we go back to, where are we? Yeah, here. So when we've got this modifier with form data, that's now a method that's on the interview type, and we can just pass in the form data, and we don't really have to think about it anymore. So long as the form contains the inputs with the names that we care about, then it will work. So yeah, that's how I managed to get those working. So sorry, let me just go over my notes. That is interviews, values, and partials now all working. I've demonstrated partials. I have shown how partials have now made the forms really easy to deal with. So again, as I move forward with this project, I'm just kind of like continuously looking for ways to sort of like really reduce the code, make it simpler. I also really want to move into making sure that I've got a lot more tests, particularly on the front end, but I haven't gotten very far with that stuff at the moment. So on to today's stream. Last time we tried this, it didn't work. So we ended up in a position where, if I just go, where are we at? Sorry, I'm just going to see if I've got GST, GCM, pull, should be fine. And then in here, so this is as it is right now in main. In the desktop, we've got in main, we've got these two things that we've sort of added on, which is like .create shortcut. Now, what we really wanted to do was like genuinely be able to access the keyboard and find out what keys are being held, what keys are being pushed, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, none of that actually worked with. So underneath Dioxus is a framework called Rye, and underneath that is a framework called Tau. Now, I'm not really sure which one of them is supposed to be providing the keyboard events, but they weren't working. There is it Evan? There's another person who's regularly on the stream who's very, very into Dioxus, who understands it way better than I do. He kept encouraging me to go back to this other way of doing it, and it is the right way to do it. Unfortunately, it definitely does not work. The events that you get back from Rye do not include keyboard events, despite the fact that in the documentation it says that they do. And in the structures, like you get back an enum that tells you what the kind of event was, you do not get keyboard events in there, even though they're listed in the enum. So, because I wanted to make sure that going into this stream, that it would actually work this time, and we weren't just like, you know, tapping our fingers trying to work out what on earth was going wrong. So it didn't work. We got feet. That's so many features I've not cleaned up properly. What was it? Better keyboard. That's cool. It's funny, I clearly have more than one branch called better something as well. So I did a little looking around and found that other people had run into the same problem. And going back to what OK Alarm was saying and what I was joking about earlier, the only way I could find to make this work was to ask JavaScript whether anything was being pushed. And what I think is quite funny about this is that we're creating an application. And a lot of what we're doing is HTML and JavaScript and stuff like that. But that then goes inside of this desktop application that is doing the rendering for us. And that desktop application should know what keys are being pushed, but that it doesn't. So we're then giving JavaScript some code so that it can tell us what keys are being pushed, even though it's inside of this other thing. I don't know. It's very weird. So this is how I did it. First of all, I created, let's work out what we're going to go over here. So this is the JavaScript that does the work for us. Some of this is courtesy of someone on the Dioxus Discord. I should have taken note of the name, but I can probably find it out later. I'm not going to show Discord on the stream though, for obvious reasons. So to make sure that we don't add this code twice, we are creating like a window global value, which we set to true once it has happened once, so that we never do it again. I have created a closure here called event to string that stringifies the event that we care about. Vincent says, I coded back in the 90s and skipped the web app period. So to me, it seems kind of backwards. It is kind of backwards. It 100% is kind of backwards. This is very silly. I kind of love the fact that we have this way around it. So we are going to be looking at some JavaScript. So this is how you do closures in JavaScript, and it is JavaScript, not TypeScript as well. So I would be much happier if we had a bit of typing in here, but we're just shoehorning it in. Let me grab, where is, I'm using Opera for streams. Let me just grab that quickly. Keyboard events. Cool, I think this is the one. Does not actually contain the... Oh, no, it does. Okay, so this gets super weird. How am I going to do this? Sorry. There we go. So keyboard events are a thing that happens inside of JavaScript that you can listen for. They have a bunch of different values that you can capture on them. Rust can't do what JS does. So Rust is different. I want to say Rust can do anything that JavaScript can do, but better. But that's not actually entirely true. So we are creating a... That's interesting, Gunter. I'm not getting any keyboard events from useRI event handler. I can go back and check again later, but I wasn't the only person running into this exact issue. I would get other events. So I'd get mouse movements, I'd get resize, focus, stuff like that, but it would not give me keyboard events, and I don't know why. Anyway, sorry, to go back to Ian Staples' question. So Rust, when you compile Rust to JavaScript or to web, you're actually compiling it to WebAssembly, which is a different runtime that exists sort of outside. It doesn't have the same access to the browser as JavaScript does. So JavaScript is incredibly glued to the browser. Like it's just right there. You have access to every API that the browser can give you. Inside of WebAssembly, though, you basically have nothing, but you can publish, like, I have the following things available for JavaScript to ask me about. And then you can do this sort of like weird like switcheroo thing where you can pass stuff into it that allows it to control stuff outside again. And so that's roughly how things like WebSys and stuff work, is that they enable you access to the JavaScript APIs by basically passing them into your WebAssembly thing. But that's not actually why the keyboard stuff doesn't work. The keyboard stuff doesn't work because a lot of the application that we've written is actually working with Rye and Tau, which are the application layer stuff that's sort of not the HTML or JavaScript. It's like the oh god, I don't want to say backend for front end because that's a different thing. It's like the backend of the application, basically, with the UI effectively only existing inside of HTML and JavaScript. So it's not that Rust can't do it. It's just that for some reason right now, for me, apparently for Gunter it works. For me, it doesn't work. So this is how I came around. There are keyboard events in JavaScript. So I'm able to capture those just by adding to the entire document some event listeners that will get the key down and key up stuff. I've got send event here, which is another closure that takes the event and sends it to Dioxus after converting it to a string, which is this bit. Because the other curious thing is you can't stringify the event itself because... yeah, it didn't work on desktop for me. That's the... I don't know why. I tried for a long time to get it to work, and it just... like I said, I could see other events that were happening, just not those. I even got to the point where I was literally publishing every single event, which is a lot. Like there's more than one a second of stuff that I really don't care about, and it just did not work. So anyway, so the other quirk on the JavaScript side of things is that events can't be stringified because they only have one property themselves. So if you know about JavaScript, it's got this weird quirky architecture called prototyping. And that means that you can basically take an already created object and then create a new object based on that original object. I wonder, do I have Node installed currently? Let's go back to the terminal. Well, that's running tailwind node. Oh yeah, of course I do. So let's say I've got let dog1. I think if I might have some friends on this stream who've seen this so many times before, but don't actually need to do that right. So let's have some dog names in the thing. I'm going to start with Rover, but I'll need 2 more. To equal, so I'm not going to use them yet. .create dog1, and let dog3 equal objects.create dog1. Okay, so if I do dog2.name, even though I've not named the dog, whoops. That's not how we do that, Daniel. Okay, so you see dog2 has a name of Rover, even though we didn't create the name on this object. We've used object.create. So this object is not the same as this object. They are 2 different objects, but dog2 has the name of this one. And the reason for it is that as JavaScript checks the property, if it's not on there, if name is not part of dog, it's part of it, like, so the JavaScript knows to check the prototype, which is the object it was created on the back of. In this case, it's dog1. So dog2 doesn't have a name, but dog1 does, so it uses that name. So now, oh, no one gave me any dog names. If I do dog1.name equals Fido, and dog2.name equals, oh my goodness, let's go with Monoko, because I think that'll be a fun reference that a few people will get. So now we have 3 dogs named Fido, Monoko, and Rover, right? Except that we don't. As my sorry, I'm going. Just do dog3.name. So dog3.name is also Fido, because we changed dog1's dog1, and dog1 is the prototype of dog3, so its name also changes, which is, I think, just a bit weird. So now we have 3 dogs, but 2 of their names have the same thing, even though we changed the names of 2 of them. It's really weird. The prototyping part of it, sorry, the reason I was talking about this is that event here only has 1 property on it directly, and everything else is part of it. It's part of its prototype. So actually, you don't have Alt key, Control key, Shift key when you come to stringify it. You need to create a new object that uses the basically the values from the prototype, which happens automatically, except inside of JSON.stringify. This also does mean that we get to cut down a little bit on what we're passing back. So how does Dioxus.send work? When we create the JavaScript here with the eval thing, we end up with this eval object on the way back. And Dioxus.send will send stuff to this that you can now listen to with a receive. So all I did was I moved this into an asynchronous context, stuck it in an infinite loop, and just waited on the event being received. And then when it's received, it will automatically deserialize it into a keyboard event, which is just something I made up myself that is up here. And now I have access to the various keys. And this one actually does have some tests, I think. Oh, maybe I took them out again. Well, never mind. So this will... Where does this happen? So this happens in here, I think. Yeah, handle keyboard event is like what to do when a keyboard event happens. So we've got one where if Alt is pressed, I've got a signal called show modifiers, which will then get either true or false based on whether or not Alt is currently pressed. So when you push the key down, you'll get one event, and when you let go again, you'll get another event, and is pressed will be true if it's down and not if it's been released. And then if Alt itself is pressed while another key is pressed, then we will get these being printed out. I've not actually done this bit yet. So you had to, sorry, reading from the chat, you had to explicitly turn it into an object, passing into JSON to make it work. Yes, into JSON stringify. Well, because it is an object. It's an object, but it has like one property. So it's like, actually, why don't we just go inspect, and then I think in here we should just be able to There we go, console. Document dot create event listener, create event. Oh, was it not? Hang on, let's just read it from here, right? Create, oh, add event listener. Okay, dot add event listener. Oops. Oh my goodness, I can't type today. Everyone on the stream is a recurring person on the stream. Is like, you can't type anytime, Daniel. Okay, so if I do console.log here, sorry, I want to do key down, right? Key down, console.log. So what will happen here is that we're passing in console log as if it's a closure. So anytime the key down happens, it should, oops, sorry, that's obviously not in the right place. Maybe I made a mistake. It might be case sensitive, whoops. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so in here you'll see that we've got all of the different properties of a key event, including the ones that I care about. But weirdly, is trusted, this one here that is bold, is the only one that's actually on that object. Everything else is on the prototype of that object. Can't remember if there's a way of... no. I'm not sure what the prototype specifically is. It probably says it in this documentation right here somewhere. Oh, it's probably UI event, actually. Let's have a look. No. Not sure. Does this have a list of details? For whatever reason, if I were to do JSON.stringify in here, JSON.stringify, and then do the button push, what's happened? Did I do the wrong stringify? Misspell JSON, misspell stringify. I'm pretty sure this should work. Oh my goodness. Don't paste code into DevTools. I'm pasting my code. JSON.stringify. Well, hopefully it doesn't work. I'll just try one more thing, which is to put it in a closure real quick, and then see if that works. I don't know. I think it's interesting, but maybe no one else does. Not working. Okay, it doesn't matter. For whatever reason, you can only get the what did I say it was? The trusted thing. Huh, doesn't actually work at all anymore. You can only get the trusted one that I was saying before, which means you don't get any of the other stuff. So by effectively like querying it to create a new object, you are not getting it from the direct object, you're getting it from the prototype of the object, which does contain the details you need. So we're creating a new object that contains the details we need in order to serialize it with JSON. So that's how I got around it. That means that what I would like to do on this stream, and I'm not going to spend too long on it tonight because I have had an exhausting week, is I want to get to the point where we can show what happens when you hold the Alt key, and when you press one of these keys, it jumps to that place if it's a valid place to jump to. So I think this is going to be a little bit interesting. So what I have done let's get it started again. I have a feeling it's probably just going to appear on a random screen somewhere. Or, oh, there, okay. Where are you? Here you are. So, if I go into inspect, if I go to, which main is it? Maybe this one, I think. When I hold down Alt, you can see that I've added in a show modifiers class to this, which currently just turns everything pink, which is funny. but not very helpful right now. But what I was interested in is whether or not we could have this modifier here so that we can sort of say, like, for these menu items, we want to basically add a little box to it that will appear when we hold down the Alt. So if you hold down Alt, we get a little box that says like Alt plus C next to this, and then Alt plus R, Alt plus I, Alt plus Q, assuming that those things are available. Now those exist in our navigation, which is not in storage, so let's get rid of that. And it's not the main nav bar, it's the other one, which I always flipping lose. Nope. Nope. Just said it wasn't that one, Daniel. Let's see, here we go. So it's here, basically. So what I need to do is effectively create something perhaps inside of here. Now, the problem being that link is one of their objects. Navbar is one of mine. So we have a nav that contains the children. So I think probably the right way to do this might be to wrap these in something, maybe some sort of new component that will apply a after pseudo element. Sorry, I appreciate that not everyone here knows about web development, and that's a bit more on the advanced side, but we will work this out. Or maybe we'll just hide it and give it a absolute position within a relative element that allows us to position it next to the element. We'll come to it. We'll play with it until it works. So what we need at the moment is, I think, a new... That's not really how we do that. We probably want a new component of some sort. I've really not organized these well. I'm a little bit disappointed with myself. Let's do... nav helper, I think. Nav helper, nav. Naming things is hard, isn't it? You can always rename it, I guess. Pub use nav helper star, and I regularly just flatten everything out. I don't think it's a big issue. This is also going to be at the top level, which again, I really think this needs reorganizing. I'm not very happy with this, but we'll just go with it. So pub. No, use Dioxus, Dioxus prelude. We are creating a component, component. Pub fn nav helper. We'll not put anything in just for a second. Just a temporary fix. What's just a temporary fix? Sorry, that's element. Okay, so that looks happy now. So then we need to return some RSX. I've noticed that RSX always, when I'm using it, it always defaults to giving me parenthesis, and then I immediately switch it to curly brackets. But they both work, and I don't know if there's supposed to be a way that they particularly encourage you to do it. I feel like I've seen both on the website, but I could be wrong about that. I'm definitely seeing curly brackets, which is why I do it. But then I also, in bits of my code where I'm literally only doing one thing, then for some reason I've gone with parenthesis. Don't know why, doesn't matter. We probably want a div for this because it's in HTML more recently, we tried to go for sort of semantically labeled elements. Div is not a semantically labeled element. It's like literally a last resort, but I can't think of an element that is appropriate for this, that is just literally wrapping something else so that you can have the thing appear inside of it. What I'm going to do is I will take a child, and I'm like 99% sure that's not how we do that. So, element, okay, yeah. No, hang on a minute. This isn't how we do this. I just saw this a few minutes ago, didn't I? Something that takes a children element. Okay. I think it's a special, I'm pretty sure it's a special value, so we should do that. So children, like I say, I'm pretty sure it's a special parameter that basically will take anything that is an element that is passed in that is not take a child. Oof. And we also want the helper text, I think. Helper text can be we'll just take an own string for this. This is another challenge I've always had with Dioxus. I'm never quite sure the best way of passing parameters like this. String will work fine, but it will end up being sort of potentially copied and stuff, which might not be ideal. Anyway, we can just shove children in. Oh, goodness. Well, now you've made me really self-conscious of it. Okay, Lama, I hope you're happy. We can shove that element in here. And then we'll have another div afterwards. And we'll put the helper text in here. And we will also give these class names, which I'm pretty sure is that. No, maybe it's just class. It's been a while since... yeah, it's just class. Okay, sorry. It's class name in JSX, and I think probably I still had it in mind. I've just finished editing the next video, and I'm touch wood, it will be out tomorrow. And it's very, very, very long. It's one of the reasons I'm absolutely exhausted now. Is I've been working on that so much. I got to the point where I'm just like, it's passable, will do. I had a lot of fun with it though. I hope you guys do as well. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So this one is going to be, I think we're just going to be really boring with our names. We will also need this to have a class as well. Nav helper. Maybe this isn't, I mean, maybe this could be more generic, because I can sort of picture these things popping up elsewhere. It's more like a keyboard shortcut, right? So maybe it needs to be called a shortcut helper. Let me go with that. We can always play with these things, right? Shortcut helper. Change this. Hopefully that has edited the library, the lib. Yep, it has. Oh God, I need to. So I bought myself a tiny little computer to take around with me that is a lot cheaper. So when I'm working on like scripts and stuff like that, I've got my tiny little cheap computer that I don't really care if I lose. The mouse the mouse I wanted to use with it didn't work with it, and now I seem to be in this weird position where can I? Okay, now it's 4. Sorry, it's one of these. There we go. Okay, sorry, I've got it back to normal. Yeah, not a mini PC. It's like a mini laptop. It's a laptop that is an 8-inch laptop that can be folded over into a tablet. Not that I actually recommend that. And then I immediately removed Windows and stuck Linux on it. So now I have a Linux machine as well as a Mac and a PC to test things like the job tracker on. I'm also trying to... friend of the channel 891 will be delighted. I am trying to use Helix a lot more, and being on Linux helps with that. But I do still need to install the bleeding edge version of it. I'm still on the stable version, which doesn't have all of the cool file picker and stuff in it. Anyway. Also because it's an 8-inch laptop, the keyboard is hilariously laid out, and I'm still trying to get used to it. Like tabs in the wrong place. The caps lock button is also the A button. It's hilarious, but I also am not sure I recommend it. As cheap as it was, I still don't think I'd recommend it. It crashes all the time. I ended up having to reseat the NVMe drive, and it now crashes less, but it still crashes, and I don't know what's going on. And also, if I put it into suspend instead of shutting it down, it just turns on in my bag and heats everything up to a ridiculous temperature. So I don't recommend it. But yeah, that is why my mouse is weird now. Okay, sorry. This is now shortcut helper as well. So if we go back to, what are we going to do here? So in our navigation, which I think we decided was in here, no, oh no, I've lost it again. No, it's detail view, isn't it? Details mod, maybe here. Yeah, okay. I need to move this out of here. This is not the best place to have this in mod.rs. So I think we should just be able to do a shortcut helper. There we go. We can pass this in. We'll just start with 1 to begin with. We know that this is also missing a... so hopefully... yeah, we've got something wrong. This method takes 1 argument but 0... oh, no, there we go. Okay, cool. Cool. And if we go back to our application, which has gone onto another screen, absolutely every time it does this. So, yeah, there we go. We've got our little plus C in the page. So next what I want to do is effectively make this not appear unless that is happening. So we're at the point now where we've got the domain... the document object model sorted, because this now contains the information that we care about. The next thing to do is move on to the CSS. We're using Tailwind badly. Go see my stream on that for my feelings on Tailwind. So you can see I've added in this like home show modifiers, does the hot pink thing. So what we want to do is I've already forgotten what it's called. Helper text. So dot helper text is the class, and we're just going to go display none probably. We probably want to do shortcut helper as position relative. So positioning in CSS is weird. This is going to be position absolute. So position absolute positions something absolutely in relation to something. But it's normally like the first parent that also has a position. Position relative is kind of like the default position, but unless you specify it when you position something absolutely within it, it will ignore the thing above it. If I remember rightly, and I know that I have seen one other person in the chat who I know is a lot better at this stuff than I am, so I'm hoping they'll correct me. I'm not going to call them out though. So if then finally, sorry, if we do show modifiers dot help text, we can now do display block, and we'll just see where we get to with this. I mean, I'll probably take this out and then start positioning it without it not showing up, if that makes sense. There we go. Okay, so we've got our this has actually worked out better than I thought. I can probably get rid of the pink, but as you can see, as we're hitting, sorry for flashing, as we're hitting the Alt button, the Alt C does appear. So this tells us, this is going to be used to tell us when you press C while holding Alt that it will go to company details and role details and so on. We want some better colors than this, though. This is obviously garbage, right? I'm also going to delete this. I also probably ought to, again, I really ought to be practicing my proper Tailwind, so I can sort of say that yes, I do understand how to use it, but we'll come back. We'll come back and clean it up in a bit. Sorry, just updating my notes as well. So we've done those, and this, and this. Cool. Okay, so already quite far through all the things I had planned, I think, because I probably skipped over showing the user event handler that didn't work for me. Let's go to... let's take this out for a minute. We'll go back to this being a block. Oops. So that we don't need to push the button to see it. We'll fix that later. And then we need to start thinking about the actual appearance of this. So I'm thinking, if I go inspect it, here, we'll be able to go to the styles and just mess with them in here. And as long as we don't refresh the thing, we should just be able to copy and paste them back again. So first of all, I think obviously a border is called for here. So we've been using the slate colors from Tailwind, I think I'll probably leave the color out for now and fix it in a bit. We would like a bit of padding, I think. So, what do I think? Like 2 pixels. Probably more on the sides, I reckon. So let's say 2 pixels, 4 pixels. Pixels probably not the right thing to use, to be honest, but I also think maybe this is too big as well, so let's bring the font size down. Font size. Actually, don't know what the default is. That may be too small. Let's go to 12, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to copy this out for a second. With the irony being that as soon as I put it in here, it will obviously refresh the page, or the styles at least. But that's okay, because now we have them in the right place, right? Nope, still there. Okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so it has updated it down here, and then it's just said, like, well, you were updating it in the actual bit here, so now this is all overwritten, which is the stuff we wanted anyway, and that's all fine. Next, I want to do, I think, right 0 should put it on the right. Yeah, okay, that puts it on the right side, but if we do a negative number, it will go very slightly over. Same for top as well. So this will give us our top. I just want to kind of like make sure it's really clear as to what you are putting it on. So let's say -10 pixels as well. Ooh, that's far too far. Oh, hang on. This is, so 0 is there. So 0 is putting it, that's in, okay, that's interesting and very slightly annoying. I'm guessing that bottom's not going to solve that problem for us. Okay. What we could do though is margin top, I bet. And then like say -10px. There we go. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. Maybe not 10 pixels though. Let's go to 5. Cool. We probably want some background color. It's probably going to be some form of slate as well. I don't know. Sorry, just color is going to, let's just make that black for now. Oops. My bad. Yeah, black. What? I don't know what's going on. Color. Black. Okay, there we go. Fine. And again, this is just giving us a bit of an idea of where we're starting. Oops, I think I just Control X it. It should be fine as long as it's here. Oops. Oh no. Okay, that's fine. Color. Black. Try that again. Copy. Interesting. This is clearly something I'm doing wrong. Gosh, now I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. That one. Okay, there we go. So this gives us a rough thing. Let's go back to none over here. And then if we go to, so actually just very quickly, one thing that I've not been doing, and I want to make it really explicit that you should be, and I also feel like I would be if I had a designer holding my hand and helping me out with some of this stuff. I am not doing any accessibility stuff, and you really ought to. So display none is no good to anyone using a screen reader or anything like that, especially if you're using a keyboard to make things pop in. That's going to be an issue. So again, another thing that I would really like to go through and tidy up is just making sure that I've got really good accessibility on the application so that anyone can use it regardless of like how they interact with computers. Just really wanted to make that especially clear. So we're in a pretty good place here. What we'll do is we'll update the, lost it again, haven't we? We'll update these to include the other ones. So is there going to be an easy way to do this? Kind of. Just do an absolute horror show of this. I wonder, can I get away with something silly like... Yeah, that's the answer. Let's change that to a capital as well. So they're all the same. Needs to do the... Nice goal to have, as not many do that. I mean, I mean, maybe I've just been lucky in that the places that I've worked have always done a really good job of making sure that they get accessibility covered. And again, it's something that I've worked with people who are a lot better at it than I am. But I do think that it's very important to get that sort of thing right. I'm a huge advocate for like all kinds of accessibility features, because oftentimes accessibility features are used by people who do not require the accessibility features, but it makes their lives easier. I would even argue that this whole like holding down Alt and pushing a button is partly to make things easier for people who aren't using a mouse and that sort of thing. So we're almost there now. One thing I did wonder, so you'll notice that it's not actually doing anything for role details, and that's because we haven't actually selected a role yet. So now if we do it, we should get them all. I don't think that's, I mean, it looks awful, but I think we're sort of getting there in terms of the functionality of the feature. So I'm going to just quickly commit that, because that's something I'm really bad at on streams. Let's see. So Feet Desktop. Yeah, you can see my last commit in here. That Rye does not seem to handle. I'm really fascinated at, like, as a Gunter, if you've got code you're allowed to share, I would love to see what you did to get it working for you. I was unable to. So most of this exists within the, does it all exist within the UI? What have I done here? Tailwind, oh no, that's fine. Yeah, this is all UI stuff. So added a shortcut helper. So that you can go to, so that you can see what shortcut keys are available. And we haven't implemented functionality, functionality. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Commit and push. Might fail if my Dioxus isn't good. It might need to run the pre-commit to see what's wrong. Yep. I maybe have gotten overzealous with some of this stuff. Make pre-commits. Or does it show me in here actually? Show details. DX format check. Okay, that's fine. So we expect to see the same thing here. Wait. What? Let's just run DX format, I guess. And try again. Commit and push. Was there something else? I think it only does one at a time, so. Okay, cool. Don't know what that was about. I do encourage people to write a, well, obviously you should be making sure you've got your continuous integration and unit tests and things like that. We do have a lot of unit tests, just not in the UI, which is a bit of a shame. I need to really get on that. I feel like a hypocrite given how much I talk about it. Anyway, what was I going to say? It's also worth making sure you have a pre-commit script so that it will make sure that you're not like completely wasting the time of the runner on GitHub or wherever your runners are running. So this is just a general question for people who are tuned in. One thing I'm thinking about doing is after the job tracker is maybe doing some stuff on Kubernetes and running Kubernetes at home, which obviously is not Rust. But I don't know if it really fits into the sort of like the demystifying software engineering, because it's more infrastructure-y and abstract than that. But then we'd be able to cover things like running GitHub and GitLab runners on your own infrastructure at home, as well as, you know, if you happen to live in a country that's just really slammed down on the whole spying thing, then how to set up VPNs so that you don't have to deal with that nonsense. I'm not sure yet whether that's something that people would be interested in. All right, give me 1 second. I just need to grab a drink. We have an interloper who is standing on my keyboard and doing all the things. Yuki, do you want to use your bed, buddy? Not keen. You're not, since I moved your bed up here, you're not really sure about it, are you? What do you think? Maybe the start of the show for a little bit? Not keen? Okay. You want help getting down? He caused so much noise. Sorry, I'm not sure how close I am to the mic. He caused so much noise during the filming of my last video. Like, there are cuts where I just don't have anything usable because he's meowing really loudly in it. So you'll get to enjoy that in the next video. Anyway, sorry. Let's see. You're gonna sit there. You're gonna make it really difficult. Cool. I mean, ugh. Meow. Okay. What were we doing? We want to. So while I was thinking about what to do with this. Oops. Okay, nothing leaked. Let's move him off here. Yuki. You knocking things over. Okay, sorry. He's basically the channel mascot, yeah. He's I think one of my favorite things that I've done with Iris is, so when I originally planned Iris, one of the things I was going to do was do all like the basics of the language, then do things like common patterns and things like that. And I've ended up doing some of the common patterns within the main series anyway. And one of my favorites is the finite state machine, where I use Yuki and his moods. So there's one of the videos has like a picture of like 3 pictures of Yuki and how he transitions between his different moods. Anyway. So. One thing I was wondering is whether I should put the behavior for pushing shortcut keys inside the shortcut helper. Now, it feels wrong to me. I'm very old, as I think many people have guessed by now. And I sort of grew up on patterns like MVC. We're separating out your actual sort of behavior and view. Obviously, we've moved into things like MVVM, which I'm still not 100% sure I understand. But shortcut helper here, we have got the sort of like the helper text that says Alt and R. Instead of doing that, what if we said like the shortcut like modifier is Alt and the button we're listening for is R, and then inside of here, we could listen for a signal happening, like where we've got in, where did I put it in? Home, right? So that's not the signal. Hang on a minute. It's this one. So show modifiers here. This is a global signal that's always available across the I think, like, I mean, my code for a lot of this application is also very ugly. I wouldn't worry about that. And you don't have to share if you don't want to. I'm at a place where at least I can listen to the keyboard events, and if I want to update it later, I certainly can. I've put it all over here, so it's not the end of the world. I just call this one function from main here, and it does all the setup for me. Oh, I can delete these now actually as well. We'll do that in a minute. Oh, we should do it sooner rather than later actually. Let's get rid of those. So one of the problems with this, I can't remember if I already said it. One of the problems with the create shortcut of this is that it works whether or not the application is focused. So you could focus on something else, push those keys, and stuff would happen, which wasn't ideal. Let's get rid of them. Let's commit. So this time it is UI. Desktop. Removed old shortcuts. Action TX send keyboard event await. Let's get keyboard events passed to my Redux store. Oh, I've just realized you might not be able to put the link in the description if you're sending a link. Sorry, in the chat. If you want to, you can, oh, unless you did, let me just check, sorry. Where are we? If you want to join the Discord, which should hopefully be in the description of this, you'll be able to send it via there, and then. But again, don't worry too much. I've got a thing that works. I'm okay. Let's commit and push that. So yeah, I don't. It feels wrong, right? To. Liar. What? Oh, go to company. Yeah, no, that's okay. Not lying. Use context provider, single application context. That should be fine. Yeah. Try that again, sorry. Commit and push. Still a lot going on. Oh, because we now removed other things at the top. So Windows no longer used, details view. Is no longer used. I think view signal, yeah, also not used. Which actually probably means we can go back to view signal and get rid of that as well. We might just change it, to be honest. View signal is here. Yeah, so we might just reuse this. What's going to be the best way to do this? Again, I'm kind of thinking. Oh my goodness. Sorry, this total aside, this is how I got a certain set of tests working. Can't even remember which ones, but if it's desktop and if it's not desktop and it's test UI, now I must have some tests in here. Let's have a look. In directory CFG test. Yeah, no. Yeah, here we go. So I did manage to add, yeah, so this is the testing for the modifier with form data, checks that when we have form data, the creation of which was a bit weird. I had to create another function to create actual form data based on a hash map. And then I can turn that hash map back into a company here, which also implements the partial and therefore apply partial and modify with data with form data. Sorry, that was a total aside. Right, I'm thinking what we could do is have another signal that takes the data of the actual sort of keyboard events. We have in here, we do already have this sort of like, this is the keyboard event, but as JavaScript describes it. So maybe we don't want to use specifically the JavaScript one. Now, this is one thing that I think Rust is really good for, is that it encourages and supports you to really think about domain-driven design. So this is where I'm communicating with JavaScript. So I'm dealing with the JavaScript stuff right here, which is why this keyboard event is not even exported even from this individual module. It's only used effectively to pass the data that we get back as a JSON thing from here and put it into here. So if I go back to UI, I think we can create a new keyboard event in here. Maybe we'll call it a shortcut event. I'm liking this. So let's go up to, again, we'll do it somewhere near the other stuff. Maybe it's time to move some of this, actually. Let's do mod shortcuts. And this time we'll make it a... Was that just slow? Okay, yeah, it was. Add, and then we can move the shortcut thing that we've got here into the shortcuts we've now got here. So we've got the shortcut helper, goes inside the shortcuts. Refactor should be fine. Except it clearly hasn't actually exported it correctly, so let's just quickly do that. Pub use star, and we can drop that. Unused because we don't use it over here, so now we need to do pub use shortcuts star. Okay, drop that as well. My editor seems to be quite slow at updating on error messages today. Keep an eye on it. So now in here, what we could do is create a mod shortcuts event. This could be, let's think, we would want an enum of shortcut modifier. And what I'm trying to think is what the best way to represent the other keys are. But for now, we're going to do Control, Alt, and Shift. This will need to be public, I think. And then we'll do pub. So I'm thinking... Okay, let's do... Sorry, this must be unbearable for people watching and me just being like, I'm not sure what train of thought I'm trying to catch right now. We'll do a shortcut key as an enum, but what we'll do is we'll make it, is it unexhaustive? Non-exhaustive, there we go. So what this will mean is that you can't match, you can't guarantee matching every value. And that will prevent us from breaking the API of shortcut key by adding another shortcut key to it. We might want to do it with this as well. What is the name of, whoops. I looked this up the other day. WinKey, macOS key, technically command. I think it's like a meta key or super key or something. Command key. I feel like Wikipedia would actually have this answer. Yeah, super key. I'm pretty sure that's what people refer to it as. So the key on the keyboard that is often the Windows key, although on mine it is not. It is system on this one, Windows on this one over here that I used for the actual, my little stupid thumbnail one. This actually was a great keyboard. I really like this keyboard. It's just I don't use it anymore. Where am I going? So I think we also want a super key as well in our little thing. I might also make it non-exhaustive because we don't really care if we add more stuff to it later. So the only keys we care about right now, what did I say it was? C, I, Q, R. Some sort of order like that. I think it's like that is the rough order. Or maybe it should be alphabetical, I don't know. We can add more keys later, doesn't matter. Those are the ones we care about right now. So next, what we want to do is have a... probably some way of testing it. Oh, we need the actual shortcut, sorry. We need the pubstruct shortcut event. And then it will be shortcut modifier. Yeah. That's not even AI, and that's actually useful. After we turned it off on stream a little while ago. The AI video is still what I'm working on as well. I'm trying to, because the macros one took me so long, I now feel like I'm behind on the unsafe one, and that one's going to be short, and then the async one is going to be massive. So I might have to come up with some videos to do while waiting on the async one. I'm also, yeah, I can't share that yet. Well, I'm hoping to have some good news about the Iris series in the near future, but we'll see how it goes. That could be quite exciting. So if I go back to keyboard over here, why is main modified? Did I forget to update Drat? I'm very easily distracted, aren't I? Okay, there is a ton of stuff that's actually wrong. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Oh, those ones are fine, though. Well, there's not a lot we can really do about that. Stash it. Let's introduce it over here. We know that we want it. So we want to do import from, I think this should work, keyboard event for shortcut events. Is that going to be right though? Because not every keyboard event is going to be a shortcut event. So we probably actually want to try from. With basically, I don't care about the error. I just, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's absolutely fine. Did I forget to export this from the UI library? I think I did. I've got like a, where are we? Pub use shortcuts, yeah? Pub use shortcut, here we go. Pub use shortcut event. Oops. Great. If it doesn't work, we don't care. We only care if it is a shortcut event. So I'm going to bring these back in, although they're technically not used currently because we only care about Alt right now. I will just bring them in for now. We want to do... so in this case, you could probably do something like Control-Alt-S. Is that useful? Can always modify it later, Daniel. Let's not worry about it for now. So first of all, we need to get the shortcut type. I think I might need to split this because I am having a lot of trouble remembering what I've just written. Shortcut help, no, not the helper, the shortcut event. And then we've got shortcut modifier, great. And I think maybe the easiest way to do this is just if is alt pressed? Yes. Value dot is alt pressed. Shortcut modifier short. No, making a shortcut modifier alt. So it's literally just going to end up being a order of precedence, basically. What? Oh, I pushed things in the wrong place there, haven't I? Yep, that's okay. Cool. Shortcuts. Modifier control. Value dot is shift pressed. Shortcuts. Shift. I don't currently do the super one, so that's fine. Else, in this case, we'll just return with an empty unit type in it. And then, so that will give us the first value, and then what we probably want. So the way I do it down here is I do the code, which is these ones here. So I think that's probably going to be the right way to do it. So now we can just do a match on value.code. I know this is weird. It'll sort itself out in a second. Key equal, and then we're going to do shift tab. Sorry, get this all in line again. I can do the silly magic things like this. Short cut key. Don't actually need the brackets, I don't think. Oh, and that's also supposed to be an arrow. Oops. Shortcut key. This, comma. And then I think it's upset because this is not a strut, it's probably a string. So let's just do our strut. Okay, that problem goes away. And then we need to bring in another error. And again, we just don't care if it's not something that can be turned into a shortcut event, then it doesn't matter at all to us. So we'll go back to doing return. Vincent, what's the shortcut for the many cursor feature? Oh, if you double tap Alt, then you can do up and down to select many cursors. You can also do, there's a ton of other stuff you can do as well. I can never remember all of them, but like I think control, however, this is for Mac, and 100% none of this is the same on Windows, and it drives me up the flipping wall when I switch between the two of them, and the keys are completely different. So for example, like it's Control G does select next thing, which is also great, especially when you need to jump around a little bit. So like if I need say I want to jump to is on each of these, then I can. But it's definitely not those keys on Windows, and every single time it ends up making me go a little bit crazy. Anyway, we're now ready to return a shortcut. I clearly didn't import this, why? Okay, shortcut event, and then I can just pass in the shortcut modifier, shortcut key. And that should be it. Oh no, we need to make sure it's okay. Okay. Use Linux. Linux might be the same. I've not installed IntelliJ on my tiny little 8-inch Linux machine, partly because I feel like it'll set on fire. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Field instructs. What have I done wrong here? Shortcut modifier, shortcut key, shortcut modifier. Oh, it's private. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. And that should all work. I think it's fine for these to be public. It's always an odd one. So coming from a sort of a PHP background, making stuff protected, and I think you would do this in things like Java and stuff as well. You'd make it protected, and then you would add get and set methods onto things that you actually wanted people to be able to change. And one quite nice thing about being able to do it that way, for example, is you could actually return a new instance of the object rather than modifying the old one, which I think a lot of us felt was the right way to do things at the time. I'm not 100% sure anymore. With Rust, I kind of feel like it's fine for it to be pub a lot more often than it felt that it was okay in other languages. What shortcut on keyboard that do Alt left click? Alt left click. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to do exactly Alt left click. Sorry, that is the Alt on Mac OS, and I don't know, maybe on Linux, but certainly not on. So funnily enough, on Windows I actually think it's Control, but on Mac OS it's Alt. on the second tap of Alt, so you do Alt and then hold Alt, and then you can do up and down. Oh, hang on a minute, I did it too slowly. Alt, Alt, but holding on the second Alt, and now while held, you move the cursor up and down, and it will select multiple things. Also, holding down Alt and pressing up and down allows you to select greater and greater things in like really contextual ways. So for example, here, where I'm starting out, I've got the first word, then the name of the whole thing, then the whole struct, then the contents of the OK, then the OK itself, and then I think the next one up would probably be the whole function, the contents of the function body, then probably up to the brackets, and then the whole function. So that's another nice trick, I think. Maybe you guys already knew that one is. Anyway, so now we've got this. What we should be able to do is effectively, if we don't care about this anymore at all, I think, we can... You're welcome. I do love finding the keyboard shortcuts and, sorry, going off on a tangent again. A few people on the stream have been encouraging each other to use Helix, which is kind of like Vim, but the keys are backwards, where it's more like, what would be the difference? It's like, I think I might as well just show you this. Here are the notes for the stream. So it's similar to, what buttons am I pushing? Wait, there we go, okay. It's similar to Vi or Vim, but where you've got sort of like W will move a word, but it also does the select at the same time. Hey, 091, we were talking about you earlier. And then if you do like 2W, it will select the two words. Whereas I think in Vim, it's like, is it like S2W or something like that? It's kind of, so Helix is kind of backwards. 891, I legitimately cannot even remember what we said. We're probably talking about Helix as well. Anyway, we've got, look, we've got this done, so I can now do RX to replace that character with an X, save, and then moving on. Selection verb, yeah. What keys am I pushing? That's none of that. There. Gosh, I'm gonna have to go check that on the stream a bit later because I don't think that should have appeared. I suspect it's a that was a public key, luckily. Oh my goodness, I hope that was a public key, otherwise I'm gonna have to go through and change some things. Never mind. I actually think it might have been a signed email, and even then I'm probably gonna have to make sure I blur that out later. Bleh. Right. Hang on, give me a second. If I go to here, I can give myself a marker and find it again more easily, right? No? No. Ah, there we go. And there is a way of doing it, I think. Add a stream marker, there we go. Cool. Sort that out later. I'm pretty sure it's fine. It probably wasn't even something useful. But yes. Helix is good. Why did we suddenly start talking about it? Because, oh, trying to learn keyboard shortcuts. I still struggle with, I've been trying to use Helix a lot more, and my brain still goes back to like the Vim ordering of doing things. So practice really makes perfect. There is a game jam coming up, and I've been trying to decide whether I actually want to take part this year. I've taken part every year for the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do it this time, because the streams plus the videos plus looking for a job is a lot of my time. But I did think, like, depending on what the theme is, it might be fun to try and make like a Helix adventure game type thing with a lot of the button pushes from Helix to navigate, so that I can practice. But we'll see what the theme is when it starts up. I think it's in a few days, actually. It's GMTK, if anyone else is interested in joining in with that. Right, so we now need to move on to capturing those events. So we've got our... oh, hang on a minute. I want to commit, not you, not you. Try this again. Come on, I've just seen it go green. It's green down here. You can do it. Okay, there we go. So that was the removing the old shortcuts. Now we're going to put in the new shortcuts. So what we're going to do is if let OK, because again, we don't care if it fails. Shortcut event. Shortcut event equals event.try from, try into. Is that upset about how I formed that? If let OK, I mean, I could do, yeah, then it doesn't know what it is, so we'll just do it here. Shortcuts event, I think that should work. Nope. Wrong number of type parameters. Actually, it's fine. So what I'm nervous about here is that it won't be able to infer the type. But if I go back to UI, the UI lib, we're going to change this view signal. I'm just going to rename it, I think, to shortcut signal. Shortcut signal. I probably should have called, sorry, I'm just noticing I probably should call that second signal something signal as well. It doesn't matter. We then are going to do shortcut events in here. Optional shortcut event starting off as nothing. Then we'll do in here, we can do shortcut signal dot send, sorry, dot write dot, it might be right actually. I think it's something weird that you don't really normally expect to do. So it's like, sorry, some. And actually, so yeah, now we can infer what's happening. But we can actually do this very slightly better, which is instead of doing this, where we've got the if it's okay, then send it as some. Again, because we don't care if this fails. We can do this, I think. Get rid of that as well. So if it succeeds, we'll take the OK value and then write it into here. And what's going to happen is as soon as we consume it, we're going to set it back to none anyway. So if it doesn't succeed, then this value will be none and it will set it to none. Maybe we don't want that. Let's not do that. Let's do it the way I had it originally. So the difference will be is that we're not setting it to none in here. We're going to only set it to none when we've consumed the signal, which we're going to do here. So now we've got this. Now, what I had previously was basically just an immediate like push to the router, a new route from these things. And I think it doesn't work. View is used here. So yeah, this was the issue that basically I was setting the view on the URL regardless of what was actually going to work. So company role and interview ID, it kind of depends on what's currently selected as to whether the view will or won't work. So I need to modify this a little bit. Is this the right place to handle it? I think no. Oh, actually, we weren't going to do it here anyway, were we? We were talking, sorry, this was what I was talking about earlier. Let's get rid of that entirely from here, which means we can also get rid of it from... That's weird. Why are you here? Probably something else still in here, I think. There'll be surely view signals imported from somewhere. Shortcut signal, let me. Okay, so if I move over to shortcut helper, I think this is where we're going to listen for it. So what I want to do, we've got the shortcut event. What I want to do is create a specific shortcut event that we're going to listen to, and then if we see the shortcut event, we'll act on it, and then we'll set it back to nothing. So in order to do that, let's think. Instead of taking the helper text, sorry, I'm still going to end up wanting the helper text. So before we remove that, we're going to want to do a impl display. I quite like format, doing it at the format level. Which should, yeah, no, I think we're okay. For shortcut modifier, and then should do this. There we go. Oh, nearly perfect. It's going to be formatter, I think. And then we don't need the formatter itself. There we go. So we can get all of the display stuff from just format. And I feel like that's the better way of doing it, personally. I'm also going to want to copy this and apply it to this as well. And we're also going to want to apply it to the last thing. We'll come to that in a second. So match. I wonder if there's an easy way to go from shortcut key where it's just a letter into it being a string. There probably is. Oh yeah, so sorry, Gunther, I missed your thing. Haven't seen the global signal yet. I use context provider for similar use cases. I am using use context provider for some stuff and then global signals for other stuff. I can't remember why I use it for some things and not other things. And ideally, you should probably avoid globals. Why do I do it? I legit can't remember why. There was some reason, because I am using the context provider for other things. So we've got the stores and the log fetcher being passed into the context. And then additionally, we have this application signal being created in here with use context provider. Maybe that's why. Can you have more than one context provider? I thought you could. I think you can. And why do I do this here and not up here? Something to look into. That feels like a bug. Let's put it onto the issue tracker. Investigate. Thank you for that. I think that's like this is a part of why I'm doing it on here, so people can like look at my code and go, Daniel, what are you doing? And then I can be like, that's a good point, and add it to my list of things to do. So investigate different inconsistent uses of global signals and context providers. Cool. No, but Gunther, I think you're right. I think it probably is better in a, like, you should probably avoid globals kind of a way. Although, yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, unique type, that's another, that is also a good point. Yeah, so unique type, you need unique types in the context providers because it does, there's a word for it. When you work out what the type was underneath, and it does it in this insanely complicated way as well, like creating type IDs and stuff. That is something I would really like to learn, like what specifically is going on and when is the right time to use that. Anyway, we'll just create that issue for now. You can see we've still got a lot. That's a newer one as of fixing the getting the form data thing in. I haven't updated all of the different things, and I still think there's probably more work to be done on that. Validate storables currently doesn't really happen. Roles don't unselect when changing companies. I think this bug has gone away. Sorry, let's just have a quick look. I have a funny feeling that one's gone away. So if I select new, I need to create a new company, a new role. Second role to test selections, submit. Okay, so if I go back to new company, new role, company again, this has clearly gone away. Okay, so I can just close that. Yay, we fixed a bug. This suddenly isn't broken anymore. Cool. Refresh. Yeah, okay, cool, that's gone. Rethink application context. Yeah, so I've already got a thing in here for that as well. Project directory opens in browser. This one's bugging me. I think I might have written it down. Oh no, I didn't write it down. I did find a crate for opening directories specifically, but it doesn't work, or it didn't appear to work in Dioxus. I'm not sure if that's a Dioxus thing or if it's a me just not understanding the crate kind of thing. Could very well be the latter. Anyway, we have now got an issue for why on earth am I using global things, and also why is this here and not in here. Very weird. Anyway, sorry, that is really bugging me, as I don't know why that is. I think this one has to be here because you have to have already launched the app in order for this to work. I've gone completely off topic again. So we'll match self. We'll implement the remaining patterns. It is inexhaustive, non-exhaustive, so we need a third one here as well. Should be fine. Right, right, F, control. And then it's, yeah, so the format result is we get that from right, so we don't need to do a lot more other than just make sure there's no semicolon on the end of that line. Let's just put all of these in for a second. And then use the Control G trick to get the double colons, or as I realized today, they are called path sep. And then this, we are going to write this key hasn't had its... actually, could I just do... I could probably just do an error, right? Error... Do we know what goes in here? What is a format result? It's going to be a format error, pub struct error. Don't know what it is. Is there a way that we can create it? I think it's probably, the answer is going to be no, isn't it? That's interesting. Huh. You can write to strings like that. Or maybe it's saying you can't write to strings like that. Okay, doesn't matter. We will, again, like a lot of the error handling and stuff in here is not great. So we'll just go with this for now, and it'll be something to tidy up when we come back around at the very end. So this is going to be right, no key, let's just do unknown key for now. And then something to tell us where to look. And then we're going to have something very similar for this. So actually, sorry. Oh, let's go unknown modifier key, because we know that we're going to have a normal key as well, or unknown shortcut modifier. Okay. I'm going to hang on to that for a second as well. Let's copy it, because we know we're going to need it down here. Unknown shortcut key. And then, yeah, basically the same thing again. Oh, wait a second. Have I just duplicated this? I have. Whoops. to comment that out so I get the error so I can add 3 patterns and then just put it back in again. Okay, feel like that was less work than typing them out. Of course I knew you could write to strings like this because that's what happens when you put something that has a display in it into a string. It uses the string stuff. Anyway. Okay, so this should allow those 2 things to work, and then we will do basically the same thing again. Import format display. Do I still have that in memory? Here. Just change that to event. Oops. And then this one's a lot easier because it's basically just going to be write f, and then it's self dot. Oh, maybe that's not going to work here. Come back to that in a second. Just try it out this way first. Shortcut modifier. Self.shortcut key. So that seems to be happy. If I take these out, just plonk that in here, does it? No, okay, it doesn't like the dots, I guess, maybe. That's fine. Readable enough. Okay, so now in the shortcut helper, instead of taking the text, we can now take a shortcut event in here that is the thing that it's listening for. And I think, because it now has display, I think that'll work. Into dynode, no. Okay, just change that back to what it said before. And then we'll just make it. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. 891 says, I accidentally scrubbed backwards and saw some CSS crimes. Yeah. What can I say? I need a designer to help me, 891. We would like to do shortcut event to string, I think should work. There we go. So now we can use the string in here to build the thing. So now I just go back to find usages. For results here. Yeah, cool. So now I guess there's a bit of a question as to like what's the easiest way to construct this. I think it's probably just to stick it in here, right? Let's have a look at how this will work. So we're going to have shortcut event, shortcut event, but the problem is then it's like yeah, modifier, shortcut modifier. I don't know if this is really like a great way of doing this. I could at least cut it down with shortcut event should work as well to get it converted to a string. That's what I thought, but it sort of said no. Let's have another go at that in a second and see what happens. It might just be like a weird what have we got? Company. So what I might do is come up with a different way of creating these, but it does seem happy with that. So I'm just going to copy. It is 100% not going to be happy with the formatting. I'm sure of it. DX format. There we go. So let's copy that. Oops. Actually. And then we know that this is what we got. Role, interview, and questions. There is a degree to which I could just make the shortcuts parts like part of the event here. So for example, I could do that's horribly formatted as well. Import shortcut event, and then we could do pub fn, and then use the actual thing. So we could do company and then put it in here. I feel like that might be a better way to construct this. I'm going to do that. I didn't get them all, did I? 1, 2, 3, up, X. We'll come back to this. Shortcut event here. This is going to be a bit weird. It's going to be a bit horrible for a second. Don't worry, we'll sort it out. GGG, pub FN, and then I've not thought this through because it's going to be like company, and then I'm going to have all the functions called the same thing, but it shouldn't matter. Shortcut event puts that in there. That should drop down to here. Didn't work quite right everywhere. You, and you. Shortcuts are a nightmare. Have I? Dual design dev stream. Yeah, we could actually. I don't know. We don't need to. It probably requires more organizational skills than I necessarily have. I mean, you guys have now seen my notes. Let me. What's the button pushes? Yeah. You guys have now, seen how I organize these streams, and this was more organized than usual. So, anyway. So company, role, interview. And if we need to change the shortcuts, I guess they're in the shortcut things here. So it's probably not the end of the world questions. And then in shortcut help, not shortcut help, sorry. In here, I can now do, yeah, cool, that worked just. Shortcut event. Obviously these are lowercase, lowercase. There we go. That's nicer, right? I'm sure that's nicer. Let's do DX format again and see what happens. Yeah. Oh, that's way nicer. Okay. Parsec. I don't know what parsec is. I mean, I know it's a measurement of distance between things in the night sky, but other than that, I don't know what it is. Right. So then the next thing we want to do is, in theory, if these are showing, then they should work, because we've got the link going on here. The link. Hang on. So basically, I actually want this route to, I need to know what this route is for the shortcut helper as well in order for that to work. So we might need to change this to shortcut link. That's okay. That's okay. Oh, I might have, I don't think I've used parsec before. I think I've used something similar, but, oh, why are you angry? Cannot be applied to, oh, because we don't have partial EQ, that's fine. Let's get those defaults back in. So derive, partial EQ. I think we will get away with copy on this as well, and clone, obviously. You need clone for copy, and it's going to be the same on all three, well, the structs and the two enums. Let's do that here. Non-exhaustive is not important enough that it should go next to the enum itself. There we go. Go back to shortcut helper. Hopefully that makes that problem go away. Let's think. Sorry, just thinking about a potential stream with 891. There's part of my brain that's thinking it's going to end up being one of those sort of like 4 developers make a game together, but none of them have any idea what the others are making. One of those kinds of streams. Python. Yeah, tuples. Well, Rust tuples are lovely. Like really, really, really nice. Python's not strongly typed, so I can imagine that it makes it a bit more painful. Tuple-like behavior in JavaScript is quite nice as well, especially if you're using TypeScript over the top of it. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So yes, that makes perfect sense. That makes a lot of sense. So it's just going to call the toString probably on it. Thank you, Gunter. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so then what I'm thinking is that we'll rename this from shortcut helper to shortcut link. We will take the stuff that we've got on the link and we'll pass it in here. So now this isn't going to be we're going to pass in the link bits over here and put the link in manually ourselves here. I think the best way to do that is probably to go to here, literally just copy this, pop this in here. However, what have I done? No, it's fine. But I don't have the roots to... Oh, no, it's fine. What am I doing? Not this at all. I want... Think it through, Daniel. Slow down. What is 2? I bet it's a something complicated. Navigation target. Can I do that in here? That's going to be the question. Navigation target. I can. Okay. And then the last thing is going to be the text. What is it called? And here it's children, I guess. Yeah, it is children. Well, we can keep that then. That makes it very slightly easier. So we no longer have this. Oops. This is literally just going to be 2. This is now going to be children. Children. Then over here, this is now sad. That's understandable. All we have to do is get rid of the link bit. I think I'm gonna be so happy if this now works. Oh. It's unhappy. Oh. So navigation found string. It's probably fine for me to accept a string. That's interesting though. It's interesting that 2 is a... let's just see. It's interesting that 2 is a navigation target here. But it might not be... It might not be the same navigation target, perhaps. Although it is in the prelude, that's interesting. Doesn't matter. It'll work as a string. And so there we go. Let's do another format so it all looks nice. Because the DX format stuff is really good. There we go. So now, everything is still working over here. Let me show you. So fingers crossed, if I do Alt, we have our Alt-C. If I go into a role, we should have all the others as well. Okay, that the text there is coming from the toString stuff that we did earlier, so that at least is a change. So the last thing we need to do in order for this to be a success, I would say, is to actually trigger jumping between the different tabs. So to do that, we can do a... if let some, what did we call the event, the signal? It was the shortcut signal. Equals shortcut signal. Is this the way I want to do this? Or no, probably not. I probably want to do if some shortcut event equals shortcut signal. Does that work? There we go. And then we can do, I don't know if this is going to be sad, but I currently, so actually one thing, I'll show you something embarrassing in a second, and I do not know how to fix it. Mismatch types, of course it is. It's because it's dot right. equals none. And then navigator.push 2. Dot clone. So if this works, I'm going to be a very happy little man. I don't think this is reloaded, has it? I've probably broken the reload stuff yet. Sorry, Gunther. I tried to build a custom link component a while ago and I failed to pass route as a navigation target. Okay, so not just me. That's good to know as well. It's quirky. Like, I love it, but it is quirky. So, Alt-R. No, it doesn't do anything. So what I want to do probably is detect not console log Daniel, dbg shortcuts event. That's going to happen on every. That's going to happen 4 times. Oh, it's not going to happen at all. Oh, because I haven't done debug. That's fine. Debug, which means it needs to happen on all of them. Okay. Yeah, like I think this is the thing. Like I really love Dioxus, and when it's stabilized, it will be my recommendation for anything and everything, so long as you've got Rust developers around. I think I've talked before about how I generally don't recommend Rust unless you already have Rust developers, because people are more expensive than machines. But yeah, oops, I've hit the wrong button again. That's fine. Where are you being used that you're not being used? Interesting. Don't know why it got in there. Were we doing something in here? No? Interesting. Weird and interesting. Sorry, just check over here. Oh. Oh my word, I'm so stupid. I'll tell you. Okay, so now I've got 2 embarrassing things to show you. Right. First of all, let's get rid of the debug. There was a reason that it didn't work. There's the debug information. The reason it didn't work was, you'll notice when I click a company, it goes to the company details here. And then when I click a role, it automatically jumps to the role details. So when I was testing it, I was pressing Alt-R, which is already on Alt-R. So Alt-C, Alt-I, and Alt-Q, and Alt-R. It does work. So we have successfully made this like weird little shortcut thing. I'll fix the colors another time. I'm not going to do that on stream. Let's commit this stuff up. And I think we're about where I wanted to be for the end of the stream. Let me just check my notes again. Notes. So, gracefully handle invalid navigation. Okay, so the reason for the gracefully handle invalid navigation here is that in the previous version of the navigator thing, it would actually attempt to navigate to those pages even if they weren't valid pages. So if you hit like, I can't remember what keys we had earlier. I think it was literally just Alt-R and Alt-C. But if you went Alt-R and you had selected a company but not a role, you'd actually get an error page because it was going to like the view for role, but role wasn't selected, therefore there was nothing to show. So this now shouldn't happen. Let's just double check that it doesn't. So if I go back to company and now I press Alt-R, we get nothing. Nothing happens, which is perfect. Oh, guys, it's been another successful stream. I'm due a massive failure again. There we go. Okay. I mean, we're still kind of lacking tests and stuff, which I'm not especially proud of. Feat UI. I mean, I know there's some desktop stuff in here as well, but use shortcuts to change details view. I think there's more that I want to do here, so I'm not sure in the long run. Like, I probably do need to talk to an expert on user experience and stuff. This is obviously laid out all horribly. Let's go back to the things to do. So I've got a few sort of like things that need sort of generally rethinking, fixing, like error handling's not done well. Oh, that was it. That was the other thing. That was the other embarrassment I wanted to show you. So What? Oh no, that's fine. This is the embarrassment. You see how I've now got my beach ball going. The problem is, let's go to that page. Let me just sorry. Where did you go? Finder, hello. Okay, weird. There we go. Okay, so sorry, it's users Daniel. Obviously, I will show you in a second, but I want to get there first. Actually, I think I can. Oh no, I can't do it because it's crashed. Maybe I can do. Library. Application support, com.fears quest, job trackers. Why is that pluralized? I've made a mistake there, haven't I? Okay, so it's not too bad actually. Let's go. If I just want to open up logs. Can I? Oh, how do close enough. Okay, so basically this is the logs file. It is currently 90 something megabytes long, which is why it's caused this to crash. It's trying to parse all of this, which is going to take it a while. Now the problem is you can sort of see in here that it tells us that we have a write signal in home that is inside of a reactive context, which is also subscribed to the signal. So we have a reactive context that is listening for a change on a signal and is writing to the change on the signal. And Dioxus really doesn't like this for the very obvious reason that that's the easiest way to create a infinite loop. Helix main has the file picker in it now. Oh, I should update then. Okay, we'll do that in a second. Sorry, that's exciting for me. I'm going to go have a look at that before the end of the stream. So if I go back to home here, let's close this down because we don't need it. You will see that we've got this use resource here. We're creating this reactive context. The thing that we care about actually is company ID, role ID, and interview ID, which are actually coming in via properties on here. This is how we home is basically how we're routing between things, but we need this information, and then we also need the view to know what we're supposed to be looking at. Now, because we only get the IDs here, if those IDs change, sorry, 1 second. If those IDs change, then we need to load the correct companies in. Let's say company ID changes, so we need to set the company ID, but we only need to set the company ID if it's different from the one that's already currently stored. So these are the props for the page, and then inside of the app context we have the details for like which company, role, and interview are currently selected. So what I do is I get the company from the context. I see if whether or not it's the same as the company ID I've just been told is the one I'm supposed to be displaying. Then I will go and get if it's not the same, then I'll go and check, get it from the database and then store it back in the context. So what it's unhappy about is I'm getting the context to read from and then setting the context here. That's why it's sad, because that could cause an infinite loop. This is basically subscribing to this change. So when I set get company, because it's subscribed to get company, this will automatically rerun the entire context. That's fine, because on the second running, it will be the same ID and then it will not happen. So I need to work out some way of basically getting this exact behavior without subscribing to the thing. Actually, what I could do is potentially move the context inside. I'd have to make it async. That's the only thing. Sorry, not that one. Set company. So if I made set company async then and passed in the stores to the context of the application, then all you would need to do is run set company with the ID, and then it could take care of it inside of there. That is definitely going to be the right way to do that, isn't it? Okay, let's write that down. I think that's what this was for. I've clearly add and definitely move it out of the storage crate. That's already happened. That's fine. In order to prevent loops in reactive context, give stores to application context instead of accessing it directly. Then we can set the company ID in home and not need to read the company from context. I'm going to forget what this all means. I think it's fine. Okay, so that's I don't know. Thank you for rubber ducking, everyone. Thank you for helping me through that. Okay, so go back to what 891 was saying. Let me commit this first. Use shortcuts to, yeah, I think we'll just call that a win. Commit and push. Interesting that made that a because I probably changed everything in the file as well. Gets obviously. What's the best? Isn't going to pass. No, it didn't pass. Okay, we have a ton of errors up there. I just saw them all. What? No value can reach this, but we've set it to be non-exhaustive. I've done something wrong here, haven't I? Okay, well, that's good to see. Non-exhaustive, exhaustive, enum rust. Don't know why that loaded up here. That's the most useless place it could possibly load. Non-exhaustive attribute. Right, so why then? Is it because oh, maybe it's because it's inside the same crate. What does it say here? Non-exhaustive attribute indicates that a type or variant may have more fields or variants added in the future. It can also be applied to struct enums. Non-exhaustive attribute uses meta keyword syntax and thus does not take any inputs with the defining crate. Within the defining crate, non-exhaustive has no effect. Okay, so that's why that's fine. So we can actually delete this because that's really clever. Sorry, total aside. That's really clever because that means that within the crate, we don't have to worry about the fact that we might add more stuff later. It's only if someone is using that outside, we're basically telling them, by the way, this might change. But Rust is smart enough to know that inside the same crate, it can actually know whether it changed or not. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, commit and push. Using peek instead of read, it doesn't subscribe. Oh. Wait, but I'm not using read either, I don't think. Sorry, again, for people watching the stream later and who can't see the chat, Gunter says, I don't get the problem yet. Using peek instead of read, it doesn't subscribe. So if we go back to home, I think I'm using... Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I can still clean this up, but if that makes that problem go away, that'll make me very happy. Oops. So I need to go back and delete that file. That's the only thing. And I couldn't open the folder, which is slightly annoying. Okay, that's right. Daniel. Wait. No. Users Daniel. Oh, this is going to be a hidden folder, isn't it? View. Show view options. Okay, hang on a second. Let's try this again. Space. Daniel. Users. Daniel. Application, no, not applications, library. Like, gosh. Struggle, the struggle. And you guys can't even see what I'm looking at because I'm intentionally not sharing it. Com dot, what? Oh, application support, what have I done? Sorry. Library application support com.daniel VS Quest even. And then if I do command 1, maybe command 2, why wouldn't you just open that now? Okay, option the second. Again, let's just be careful. Konami code next. Don't tempt me. Oh, no, you're going to make me think about it. Oh, it's going to be like queuing up the events. We can totally do that, Badger, yeah. We can add the Konami code. What we could do to get this to work is if in the keyboard, what we could do is create a... it needs to be... We might need to create a signal in here in order to capture each key as it gets pressed into a vector. Sorry, Gunter, I'll come to that in a second. I think, yeah, we could probably put a vector somewhere that you can modify by triggering a signal similar to these, and then match it against potential codes that you put in. That's non-trivial, but that is a fun one, and now I want to do it. And Badger and 891, you are both in trouble with me now for making me want to do things that are a clear waste of time, but a lot of fun. Anyway, sorry. Open. Oh, look, that's already there. Okay, great. So let's bring this over. So in logs, I just need to delete this file. Delete. Command backspace, even. Oh my god, just go away. Move to bin. There we go. Right. Let's restart our application. Don't know where it's gone. Right, so if Gunter's thing works, which I have high hopes, that's just such a good observation there. So the problem is basically when we're changing these values that it causes that loop. So if I now go into help, we still get it. Home 4329, let's have a look. It could still be that I've got something wrong in here. I have seen other people put the Konami code into websites as well, yeah. Super Party Disco mode, which swapped comics out to make the background. That is excellent. That is excellent. I do feel like if you've paid someone to make you an application in the past, you should probably type the Konami code in just to make sure that they've not put it in there, that you're aware that that is a thing. And if you don't know what it is, Google it. It's got to be like the #1 Easter egg, right? Where was I going? I want to go home here. And then did I miss one? It could be that it's, wait, let's have a look at this again. It could be that it's not context, right? It's finish reactive 2321 and 4329. So 23 and 49. So here's 23. That's where we're starting. 49. No. 43. Sorry, 43. Ah, there we go. That's what there. See, dot peak. Can't move. Can claim the value and consume it. Because we're using it in here twice. So let's peaked context equal context.peak. Will that work? We might still need to clone something here, perhaps, but I mean, this is is it? How do I? Clone the value and consume it, but this might not be a desired behavior. I mean, it's not. What could we do? I mean, we could reference count it. I think that would make people very upset. Dot set. Oh. Right. No, this is fine. This is fine. This isn't. I've misunderstood this error. Let's put this back. It's literally that it wants me to clone the inside of this, which is right, because that's basically what this does. Kind of borrowed as mutable. This is also borrowed as immutable, so we want to do, let's change, maybe I do want that then. Let peaked. Okay, so the issue here is that I'm modifying the context when I call set role. It returns a new context, assuming that it could update the thing. So I think if I do, let's just have a look at what happens with the type in here. Let new context equal this thing. And I think basically that can't work. It literally. What? Why did extracting that work? Because it's sorry. Okay, I got it. Thanks for joining again, Vincent. Have a great have a great evening, and I will catch you later. I think this is going to work, by the way. I think this approach is going to work. So the issue was we were basically borrowing it again here. The reason that it was upset about me doing set and peak in it is because I'm basically borrowing it and then borrowing it again, I think, is why it was upset. With the peak, it didn't really want me to do that. So if I do basically the same thing here, this should make this problem go away, except that it's not that, it's now this. And then this goes away and it's just new context. Something's still, whoops, going a bit slow or wrong here. Right. Go all the way down to the bottom. Unexpected token. I've missed something like this. Let's go delete the log again. I don't need this. That was just my attempt at formatting the error message so I could actually read what it says. Right, so if I go into help, there should be nothing here because we've not gone to home properly yet. So new, here, role, interview, questions, that sort of stuff. Nothing. Gunter, you hero. That's brilliant. Did not know about peak. Thank you so much. That has solved that problem. So let's get that in. Actually, should probably be on a different branch. I got overexcited again. I always do this. It's fine. Is it fine? Let's think this through. Are there any other changes in this? There's no other changes right here, right? So I could just. So this, I think this is what I'm missing right now, Gunter, is that because I've worked in Rust, or no, I've been using Rust since 2017, but I've only worked with other people using Rust for less than 2 years of this entire sort of period of me using Rust. And I I mean, maybe I'm just a bad software engineer. It's entirely possible, but I definitely depend on other people sort of like, you know, finding little niche things and sharing them and stuff like that, because I feel like that's a really good way of moving forward. And like, honestly, that's a part of why I started up this stream, is just for people to yell at me about doing stupid things. I think actually, was it Vincent? Calling him out now, he's left. Someone in my very first stream basically said like, you shouldn't be using you know, vec.iter when you're not reusing the vec. You should be using into iter. On my first stream, they called me out. I was like, I'm really glad you pointed that out, because I think I was probably going to use it again and then didn't and never updated it. So it was really good to like to have an additional set of eyes and point that out. Okay. So that's, sorry. I think we could do a git stash. Hopefully. GCM. Git stash pop. No. GCB. Fix context. Git pop. Git stash pop. And then I think this should be fine, right? This should just be the things that we just changed. Okay. Fix UI. I still think I want to move that behavior inside of the context. I could be using the context in a much more sensible way. So I think that's probably something to look at. Use shortcuts to change view details. Sorry, now I'm thinking about that and how many layers deep the store went on traits, to the point that it's utterly, utterly bananas. And I don't want to repeat that on, you could just do context.store, right? And then it'll be fine. Yeah, okay, no, it's fine. Fix the reactive context read write loop. There we go. That'll do. Commit and push. Is it going to be sad about the something? One downside to pre-commit cook is just hanging on and seeing what's happening. Found it hard to get such feedback in Rust as well compared to with other languages I've worked with before. I'm a bit late to the party though. I started working with Rust before 2020, but only for shorter bursts until recently. Yeah, I really, really, really would like to be working in Rust. Unfortunately, I'm nowhere near as skilled at Rust as I am at TypeScript and JavaScript. And I think that I'd probably be setting myself back just switching to a different language. And yeah, it's difficult. The community generally I found to be really nice, but I feel like if I'm comparing it to sort of so if going back to like other languages I use and you know, even back to PHP historically, I just feel like the structures are slightly different. So Stack Overflow is crammed with JavaScript and PHP solutions, whereas I don't feel it is for Rust. Then additionally, if you do try and use like AI to support you with Rust, by far I think it's just bad. Using AI, like just because there's no context, because it's such a new language, and for the exact same reason, there's just not the same Stack Overflow, or like PHP's PHP.net is unbelievably good. A good place to go and learn PHP, like all the little comments that they have at the end where people are just like helping each other out, really, really, really good. But Rust doesn't really have, like, it doesn't have that huge history, sort of pre like ChatGPT. So if we say like ChatGPT was like 2021 where it got really big, so Rust was only 7 years old at that point for a version 1 release, and it's getting much bigger, but it's still very bad, very far behind. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so 891 points out that I'm not going to read that out exactly, but AI is not good with systems level languages. It's bad with C++ too. That's good to know. I don't use C++ at all anymore. I think I tried getting back into it last year or the year before and was just like, no, I can't do this. But it's good to know that AI is bad with that. I mean, did we discuss on stream that it turns out that economists are mostly telling people that it will make people 39% faster at coding. ML experts. I know there's some ML experts on the stream at the moment. But, maybe they'll disagree with me. Anyway, apparently, according to like a meta review, ML experts reckon it should make you about 38% faster. When tested on a small set of software engineers, they generally thought it would make them 24% faster on average across the group of them. They were then given a set of assignments where on a code base that they were familiar with already, and then sort of intermittently told, yes, you can use AI, or no, you can't use AI. And after they finished all of the tasks, they reckoned that AI had sped them up by about 20%, a little bit less than what they predicted beforehand. But when they looked at the numbers, it actually slowed them down by 19% on average. And that those error bars on the like how much it actually impacted them were really wide, but they were all negative. And I just feel like, I don't know. I still am very much anti-LLMs. I think that's the issue. Like, I love a lot of AI, and I don't like the fact that we group it all together. If Badger is who I think it is, I feel like we've probably had this discussion as well outside of stream. But yeah, it's quite wild. I feel like it's just snake oil, and people are telling everyone that it's going to make them faster, and then people even feel like it's made them faster, but actually, it's starting to look like it doesn't. Sorry, catching up with what 891 said. Lots of closed source stuff and more open-ended applications that web, which is very pattern based. Yes, that's also true. So again, it's like it's really good for anything where there is a lot of open source stuff already, where it has just farmed all of our GitHub content that may or may not have actually been open source, but they stole it anyway. So everything that's there is now is a strong backing behind the AI stuff. Not good for pattern prediction. Not good food for pattern prediction. Sorry. Yeah. Well, being just borrowing from tomorrow's happiness. I love AI to get started with stuff, and I don't do it frequently. Because to be fair, like, I'm not saying that it's sorry, I probably am making it sound like that. If I'm managing a bunch of people, I'm not going to tell them to not use AI. And I certainly have heard of like really specific use cases where it's basically the only thing that's holding like stuff together. I talked to a woman recently who mentioned that she uses AI like really heavily because she's a JavaScript engineer who's being forced to do PHP stuff, and I can totally see how that would really help. Like, I love PHP. It's very weird, and it's not going to be something I return to like intentionally. Like, I'll happily work on PHP projects if that's going to end up being whatever I'm doing next. But it's not something I'm looking to return to in my personal life. I love it, but I've moved on now. Good for docs and basic pair programming. Generating code, hard no. Good for code reviews. Love AI to get started with stuff I don't do frequently. Yeah. Yeah, so like I say, I don't mean to bash too hard. It's just very much not for me. And I have a lot of concerns with how hard people are pushing on it, saying that it's going to make you more efficient when the numbers actually say otherwise. I mean, again, these tests aren't huge either. So, right, last thing I want to do before the end of the stream was, let's see, none of these. Where have we gone? Here. So I just want to do... That's why you're over here. Right, that was... Okay, that's fine. That's an encrypted file. The thing that I flashed up on screen, I don't even need to fix that later. Nothing there that tells you what it was. Cool. No need to fix. Can I... Okay, there we go. And I can close this one down as well, I think. Oh, that was too far. So get warp back up. I only need one of these windows. Why are there so many? Let's get rid of this one. I can keep those two. Okay, cool. And then I guess I'm going to ask 891 to tell me how to do the brew install Helix. So we're already installed it via brew. Let's see if it updates. Yes. PHP Stockholm Syndrome. So actually, yeah, sorry, 891 and I disagree on this a fair bit. I passionately do not like Laravel, and you could not pay me to work with Laravel again, whereas he's the opposite and would not work with any kind of PHP unless it's Laravel, which I think is hilarious. This is why I think it's really good that there are so many different people. You know, there's so many different kinds of software engineers that you get like a really good mix of things. Anyway, so we're back in YouTube scripts. How do I get the actual file thing? Let's start here. Is there some sort of button pushing that I need to do? Let me go and get this up while I'm here. So I don't really want to watch someone else's video right now. Here we go. File Explorer is merged into Helix. Space E. Oh, I shouldn't guessed. Ooh. Oh, so much better. Okay, sorry, that's not where we are. We are on stream, so let's build Job Tracker 11. There you go. That's excellent. That makes me really happy. What happens if I just want to find something? Okay, it only finds it in the current directory, but I've still got space F for that. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Space E. I'm gonna go update my Linux machine now. Okay, thank you everyone for all of the help and stuff today, especially Gunter, who has just saved me a massive headache. Yeah, but thank you everyone, and I will get all of that stuff. I always like leave the PRs open and then review them and merge them afterwards. I'm sure they're gonna have a ton of mistakes and stuff in it that I just was distracted during the stream going through. But yeah, if you haven't already, do feel free to join the Discord. The next macros video. So the macros video is done. I have output the file, output the video before starting the stream. It's going to be, it should be up for Patreons tomorrow, touch wood. I always upload it to YouTube first, then edit my subtitles in YouTube, and then I'll set that to publish on the 1st for YouTube, and then for Patreons, it'll be up tomorrow, hopefully. We'll see how I get on with that. And I will try and make sure that the subtitles are in before I upload it, because I've been bad at like rushing out the Patreon one without subtitles included, so sorry for that. Currently working on the unsafe one, which is fun because I've never, no, that's not true. I have used unsafe, but only in like really specific things, whereas like I programmed up some what are they called? Board support crates, board support packages, BSPs. So I do not generate the subs in DaVinci. No, no, DaVinci gets weird. Come back to that in a second. Sorry. Board support packages for the ARM at SAMD microcontroller. There's a really good Rust crate that's been, I don't know who oversees it. It's really, really good. And I happen to have an AppSamD board that they did not have in their support crate package in their packages. So I added one onto there. And I think that's probably the only time I've legitimately used unsafe, because you have to write to specific memory locations in order to do certain things like turn lights on and off. But then you wrap it in safe, brain died. You basically wrap it in safe code so that people using your code can consider that code to be safe, but the code inside of it is unsafe. And the standard library does this all of the time, of course. If you've ever used like stud mem swap, then you have used unsafe code underneath. In fact, if you've used strings, you've used unsafe code, because there's literally no way of safely managing memory in that sort of way. But it's been fun for me to go through and be like discovering all sorts of things that you can do in Rust that you will almost never need to. But kind of the point of the next video is basically like, you're very unlikely to ever need unsafe Rust, but if you ever see it, you shouldn't feel afraid. Like here are a bunch of things to help you understand why we use unsafe and how to keep yourself safe while using it. So that's still being written. The book part of that's still being written. Like I said earlier, async is going to take a while, I think, and I'm not it's the bit of the series I'm least convinced about, because if you're going to use async in Rust, you're probably going to use someone else's executor like Tokyo or async stud. However, I haven't used any crates in Iris as far as I'm aware. And I don't want to do it just for async. So we'll be going through how to create your own executor and all of the parts in it, even though you will never, ever, ever need to do it. But it will give you like an understanding of like how the other crates are doing it. And for example, like why things need static lifetimes if they're being sent asynchronously. Like there's some really weird stuff around that I think is quite fun. By the way, No Boilerplate just did a really good async video, which I highly recommend you watch if you're curious about like async and how it's still like the rough edge of Rust, whereas everything else I think has got like really well designed APIs and stuff like that. There is like one rough edge on async, which I strongly agree with him. I kind of think that's where I mucked up in my interview as well. But definitely go watch the No Boilerplate thing. That's me, I think. That's everything I wanted to cover. I hope everyone had fun, or at least as much fun as I did, or learned something. I'm glad you learned something. A91, I do not generate the subtitles in DaVinci. I have a script, so I copy the script into YouTube. YouTube will sync all the script up with what I've said, except that normally I've changed things, and I know I've changed a ton of stuff in the last one, so it's going to take me a little while to go through and just make sure everything's lined up. It also lets me make sure that, for example, where I've got my titles, it doesn't overrun. But yeah. Sorry, that was a crazy ending. I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you, everyone. Chat to you later. Bye.